God asked me, are you sure you're willing to go through with this? And I said, yes, I'm sure. And with that, it's like I was shot very quickly. I was leaving that place. It's like we started looking at all these places I could go, these planets I could go to. There was like thousands and thousands and thousands. And I had the intelligence to understand very quickly what each one was like and what the details were like. I had a really good idea what I was getting myself into. It's like I was choosing where I was going to go, where I was going to get these lessons I needed. And I could get the lessons I needed at any one of these planets, but it was kind of like up to me which one to pick. When we got to Earth, there's something about it. I was just absolutely positive. This is where I want to go. This is the planet I want to go on. My name is Aaron Green. Shortly before my 6th birthday, I was playing with some friends in a neighbor's backyard, and I developed a breathing problem. And no matter what I did, I couldn't take a breath of air. I struggled to breathe, and I just couldn't get a breath of air. And I realized this was getting pretty serious, and I was becoming very upset and concerned about it. And so I started trying to walk home to go see my parents to try to get some help. And I got maybe 20 feet away from my friends, and this breathing problem, it triggered like a release. My consciousness, my soul, whatever it is that I really am, like the real me, left my body. And I watched as my body fell to the ground. I was just kind of like floating there next to my body, and I could see it laying on the ground. And a couple things happened really quickly. I noticed my friends were still playing in the backyard, but everything about this life seemed almost like trivial or unimportant. My friends didn't notice that I had my body had collapsed on the ground. They were just playing. And a couple other things happened really fast. One was my entire life, it like replayed in front of me very quickly, in extreme detail. It's like nothing was left out. It was my entire life from beginning up until that point. And, I saw everything that I had done. But the weird thing was, or the difference is, it's like I could feel everything I experienced, all my emotions, everything I'd been through. But I could also feel like how I had affected other people, what I had done, how other people had been affected by it. I could like literally feel that. And what really stood out was my parents. I was only a little kid, almost 6 years old, and I could feel the emotions and feelings that my parents had. And what really stood out was my mom, loved me. Like I could really feel that. And my father, I could like feel his anger and frustration at having little kids when he was changing diapers and we were crying and stuff. I mean, he was a good father, but I could like feel his frustrations at times that it was difficult to have children. Anyway, I noticed a bright light in the distance, and I knew that there was something important about it, but I didn't really focus too much attention on it. It was like I instinctively knew there was something to it, but I didn't continue to focus on it or do anything with it. I just kind of floated there next to my body, and I would start to have questions. And as I would have questions, the answers would come to me in extreme clarity, like very detailed answers to my questions would come to me. Usually in the form of, it was like I would re-experience something that I had been through before. It's like I realized pretty clearly that I had existed prior to being this person. Like that was very obvious. Anyway, one of the first questions I had was, what am I? Like I'm obviously not this human being, this person. I'm something different. Like, what am I? And I was able to see myself as just a round orb of consciousness, just like a round ball with a faint light coming from it. Anyway, I further asked, where did I come from? How did I get on this planet? What am I doing here? What's going on? And a memory, like a spiritual memory, replayed for me, and I re-experienced what I had done to come to this point, like how I had gotten here. And I had started out, I was the same thing, a round orb of consciousness, but I was with hundreds or thousands of others who were just like me, and we were we just kind of existed in what I call a sea of light. It was very bright. We were all happy and comfortable and content. But we were it's like we were ignorant. We didn't really know anything, but we were happy. I view it as like a spiritual nursery. Anyway, we'd periodically get a gift. It was like a treat, kind of like a kid getting candy or something like that. Periodically, a treat would come down to all of us, and we would all get one of these treats. And we all enjoyed it, but it wasn't like a huge deal or anything. But one time there was these gifts came down, and there was one fewer gift than there were souls in this group. And so I made the conscious decision, I'm going to give up this gift because I know all these others around me, they want the gift as much as I do. So I'm just going to let them have it, and I'm just going to go without. And when the last soul received the last gift, I was very, very gently lifted up out of this group. And the care with which I was treated, like it was very gentle. It was noticeable that I was being treated very carefully. But I was lifted up out of this group, and it's like there was mind-to-mind communication, telepathic communication, whatever you want to call it, and this much higher level, powerful entity. I'm not even sure how to describe it, but it was clearly way bigger than me. It contacted me and basically said that it was my creator, and I'm just going to call it God for simplicity, but I view it more as that this is what created me, because that's what he said. He said, I'm your creator. Anyway, basically he said that I was loved, that I was very important, and not just me, but all of us souls, and that what I had done, giving up this treat that I wanted for the benefit of those around me, was very important, and that it indicated that I was ready to start to start something, to begin, to move on to another step or something like that. And basically, the way God described it as, he said, there's a wonderful existence in store for all of us, like an absolutely fantastic existence. We're going to be extremely happy. But before we can really enjoy our existence, we need to go through an experience and learn things. We need to mature and grow and become to where we are capable of enjoying this wonderful existence, like we weren't ready yet. And so I asked God, couldn't you just change me and make me so that I could enjoy my existence? Why do I need to go through something? And the answer was that yes, he absolutely could change me or anybody else. He could do anything he wanted to us. But that one of the core reasons for our creation in the first place is that he wanted beings that had free will. It was very important that we could make our own choices and do what we wanted. And if he forcibly changed us, it would violate our free will. And it's like it would violate the core reason we were created in the first place. So it's like it didn't work. And so I asked another question for more details about why we needed to go through some kind of experience. And the way he explained it was pretty straightforward. Basically, God was loving, compassionate, kind, honest, loving, all these wonderful attributes. And we were simple free will beings. And in order for us to really enjoy our existence, we needed to freely adopt those same traits for ourselves. We needed to freely choose love, compassion, kindness, honesty, integrity, all those traits you think of as being like a good person would have. But that God wasn't going to force us. We needed to choose those for ourselves. But God had created this training realm, or whatever you want to call it, where we would be able to learn for ourselves through our own actions that these things are good. These are positive traits, and if we do stuff that's opposite of that, it's it's not good. Anyway, God was absolutely confident that this was a good plan and that this was how things should go. So God then asked if I wanted to see his face, and I agreed. And what I saw was it looked like a sun-like entity, just extremely huge and bright. Looked kind of like the sun, except inside the sun there was billions and billions of beings that were all together. It's like an endless group of these little orbs of light, these orbs of consciousness were all together, and the collective of all of them glowed very brightly. Anyway, a couple of them kind of came to the surface to wish me well. They were really excited that I was going to join them someday, and that I was new to existence. And They basically wished me well. They had been through what I was about to go through. Anyway, God asked me, are you sure you're willing to go through with this? And I said, yes, I'm sure. And with that, it's like I was shot very quickly. I was leaving that place or whatever it was. And God was still like in contact with me, mind-to-mind communication. And we looked at, it's like we started looking at all these places I could go, these planets I could go to. There was like thousands and thousands and thousands. And we looked at, I don't know, a countless number of them. And I had the intelligence to understand very quickly what each one was like and what the details were like. I don't remember those details, but I had a really good idea what I was getting myself into. It's like I was choosing where I was going to go, where I was going to get these lessons I needed. And I could get the lessons I needed at any one of these planets, but it was kind of like up to me which one to pick. Anyway, when we got to Earth, there's something about it. I was just absolutely positive. This is where I want to go. This is the planet I want to go on. And with that, my question was answered, and I was back to floating around in my neighbor's backyard, and I had more questions. I wanted to know, okay, I understand where I came from and how I got to this planet, and then I wanted to know, well, why am I Aaron? Why am I this person? What's going on? What's going on with this life I'm living right now? And again, it's like I re-experienced something I had been through before, and this new memory, it started out as I was like I was a soul without a body, and I was frustrated. I had been to in the first experience I had never been to. I'm sorry, the first memory I had never been to Earth before. But during this next memory, it's like I had been to Earth many times. This was not my first life, and somehow it's like I had screwed up, like I had made a big mistake. And I was extremely frustrated with myself and full of regret for things I had done. Like I had done some bad things. I don't remember what they were, but I had that feeling like I had really made some big mistakes. Anyway, there was guides that were there to help me, and I knew they were there to help me, and I trusted them. But I didn't want to agree with their plan. They wanted me to come back to Earth and live another life. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to stay here in whatever realm we were in. It was kind of like a midway realm or something. And they basically explained to me, that's your choice. We can't force you to go back, but you're kind of like going to be stuck here, and you can't get better. You can't improve yourself. You just be kind of like stuck here forever. And, I still didn't care. I didn't want to go back to Earth. I didn't want to live another life. But they said, well, how about if we show you some souls that you could help if you went back to Earth? Would you be willing to entertain that? And I basically said, yes, okay, you could show me some souls that I would help if I went back to Earth. So they showed me that if I went back to Earth, I would be able to help some people, help some souls with their development. And that kind of like triggered something in me that I thought, okay, maybe we could consider it. And so my guides wanted to show me the kind of life I could live, and so I agreed. And so we went and we looked at a person I could become. And this person was like a very angry person. I think they had some childhood trauma, or they were mistreated or something. And if I lived this life, I would grow up to be a very angry person. And, but that would help me spiritually. Like it would help me grow spiritually by working against this difficult, angry life. It would help my soul to become more peaceful and calm. Anyway, but I flat rejected that life. I said, no, I'm not living that life. I'm not going to do that. And my guides respected my decision, and they agreed, okay, well, let's look at some other opportunities, some other options. And so we looked at a different set of parents. We started looking at what kind of children they could have. And initially, I wanted to be, I saw that these parents had the genes to have a redheaded child. And I really liked that idea. I wanted to be a redheaded girl. I thought it was really neat that that's a rare hair color. Like there's not a lot of people on Earth with that hair color. And I really liked that. I thought that was cool. But the genes and my personality, like there weren't enough options available where I could get everything I wanted. Like I would have been kind of like socially awkward. I would have had difficulty relating to other people. So it's like it didn't really work out. So we started looking at, well, what about a boy? What about different hair colors? What are the other options available? And so when we got to brown-haired boys, like it was obvious that there was oodles and oodles, tons of choices available to these parents for a brown-haired boy. And so we started looking at the details, and it was just obvious that was a better fit for me. And so we started looking at the details, and at first I wanted to be like really, really good looking, like a really good looking guy. And my guides pointed out that, okay, those genes are available to those parents, but if you're really, really good looking, women are going to treat you differently. It's like at your stage of spiritual development, you're not going to be able to resist certain temptations. Okay. Basically I would have been too promiscuous. And by too promiscuous, I mean like at my level of spiritual development, it would have been bad for my development. Okay. And so I realized there was a spiritual downside for me of being really good looking and being too promiscuous. And so we backed the attractiveness down. Anyway, we found the right body, and then it was the same thing with the intelligence. I wanted to be super intelligent, like the best, the smartest guy on the planet. And my guides again pointed out, okay, you can pick that if you want. That's available to these parents, but there's downsides. You're going to be arrogant. You're going to look down on other people because they're not as smart as you. You're going to be kind of a jerk, and you're going to be an atheist. And all of those things there's a downside spiritually to that. And so I said, okay. So again, we backed the intelligence down to, smart. We picked everything about this body. It was my choice. I was able to agree to everything, like the height, certain intimate details about this body, like all of it. It's like I agreed to all of it. And when we got the body that seemed right for me, my guide said, basically, okay, is this what you want? This is good. They had plans for my life. They showed me things I had done in a past life that were now specifically going to be incorporated into this upcoming life. And the most straightforward example I had was they showed me in a previous life I had gotten in a fight and I had beat up somebody else pretty badly. And there was no justification for it. He didn't deserve to get beat up. I could have easily avoided this fight. It was like I had done something wrong, and it was just very obvious in that setting when you could see all the different, everything about that fight. We knew from everybody's side what was going on, and basically it's like I had written a check in a past life, and now I had to cash it, or I'd created karma, and now I had to cash it in. You could call it whatever you want to, but what I had done in the past life was now directly going to play into my upcoming life. And this wasn't a punishment or anything. It was like a learning experience. I was able to receive what I had previously given out. And I would be able to learn from that. But I needed to agree to it. My guides couldn't force this on me. And I agreed to it. I was going to get my nose broken as a 12-year-old, get in a fight and get my nose broken. And that would be a learning opportunity for me to learn that, it's not good to go around hurting other people. And then they showed me other things. They showed me some terrible things I had done. And it was going to result in me basically breaking both of my shoulders. I'm sorry. I dislocated this shoulder, and I needed to agree to that. And then later in life, I would break and dislocate my other shoulder. And that was directly related to something I'd done in a previous life. But I would gain experience and wisdom through going through these experiences, and I would relieve myself of this past karmic debt, or whatever you want to call it. And we looked at the whole life as a whole, and they asked me if I agreed to this, and I said, yes, I agree. And it's like then my initial question had been answered, and I was back to floating around in the neighbor's backyard. And then I had another question. I wanted to know, well, what happens to souls between lives? Like I know I've lived a number of lives, but what happens like between lives? That was my question. And I was shown a number of places I had been, or realms I had been in between lives. I saw a number of bad places I had been, like realms where it was very unpleasant. And they weren't all the same. Some were very unpleasant and some were just kind of mildly unpleasant. And then I saw realms I had been in that were good, like happy realms. And there was a wide range of different realms. And in each of these realms, like my internal nature matched the realm. Like if I was a hateful person, I ended up in a hateful realm with others who were just like me. And we just fought, and it was terrible. When I had been a loving person, I ended up in a loving realm with others who were loving, and it was great. It was a good experience. And in each of these realms, my external appearance matched my inward nature, and I was always with others who were just like me. Anyway, after that, I had a realization, like a memory that, when I'm done with this life, I get to go back to this really nice realm, this very pleasant realm, like a city of light, and I would be able to be back with my friends again. And I had the memory that I had these spiritual friends that I was very, very close with. And I was so thrilled. I really wanted to go back and be with them. And it's like, just as I had that realization, this being of light, or angel, or whatever he was, I don't know. He didn't have a name tag on, so it's like I'm trying to guess what it was. But nearest I could say was it was an angel. Anyway, he came at me very, very quickly. It was an absolutely beautiful being, and essentially he said, "You are not to leave your body." And with that, it's like, bam! I was back in my body, and I stood up, and I didn't have any trouble breathing anymore. And at that point, my brother had come to check on me, but I like went straight home. I tried to explain it to my mom, but I wasn't able to verbalize what happened to me. But I would think about this experience, and after I think maybe 6 months, something like that, the guides that I had worked with to plan out this life, like they contacted me through telepathically, like mind-to-mind communication, and I knew exactly who it was. It's like if you hear someone's voice, you know who it is. It was the same kind of deal. Anyway, they said that they needed my agreement to hide the memory of what I'd experienced. It's like that experience I had been through was messing up my life. I wouldn't be able to live life as intended, and I wouldn't get the kind of spiritual growth I was supposed to from this life. It's like it caused problems for me to have that much knowledge, that information about the other side. And I said, well, don't you want people to know about the other side and understand how this works? And they said, yes, they do. But for me, it's causing problems, and they need to hide that experience for me. And they assured me that when I was older, I would get that experience back. So I agreed. I trusted my guides. I know they're looking out for me. So I agreed. I went through life. When I was 35, 36, I was reading a Newsweek article magazine about Dr. Evan Alexander. He's a neurosurgeon who had a near-death experience. Anyway, somehow reading about his experience, I was like, I accepted what he was saying. Like, I had a little bit more faith in the afterlife than I had before. I had always kind of thought, okay, yeah, I guess so. But I never really gave it the kind of consideration that I should have. But anyway, I believed his story. I thought, okay, this is neat. And somehow that triggered something for me. It triggered my experiences to come back to me. And I remembered all the stuff that I hadn't thought about in 30 years. It's like it all came back to me. The most important thing is that we need to treat each other well, being loving, kind, compassionate, honest, acting with integrity, forgiving other people, being generous, serving other people. All of that stuff is very important, and we just need to be good to each other, and that really helps us with our spiritual growth and sets us up for a lot greater happiness when we leave this life. So again, my name is Aaron Green. I can be reached at aarongreen1975@gmail.com. I'm easy to find on Facebook. People contact me through Facebook sometimes. And then I have a YouTube channel, Emerging from the Light, where I share some interviews I've done, kind of like this one. And someday I'll get my book out, Emerging from the Light. But that might be a while. I don't know how long it's going to take.